Stacey David didn't disappear because people stopped caring. He stepped away because the world of television changed around him. For years, he was one of the most trusted faces in automotive TV. Viewers loved his wild hair, calm personality, and no-nonsense approach to building trucks and cars. While many shows chased drama, Stacey focused on real work. Then, just as trucks was at its peak, he was suddenly gone. There was no big farewell, no public fight, and no headline-making controversy. So what really happened? The answer is far more interesting than most people realize. Long before television cameras followed him around a garage, Stacey was fascinated by anything with an engine. Growing up in Boise, Idaho, he spent countless hours taking machines apart just to understand how they worked. He wasn't satisfied with simply driving cars or motorcycles. He wanted to know what made them run, why they broke, and how they could be improved. That curiosity shaped everything that came later. Unlike many television hosts, Stacey never had to pretend to be a builder. He was already one long before anyone handed him a microphone. But there was another side to him that many fans never expected, and it would influence the way he approached every project. Music became a major part of Stacey's life. After moving to Nashville, Tennessee, he worked as a professional guitarist, playing sessions and touring with different performers. At first, cars and music might seem like completely different worlds, but for Stacey they shared something important. Every vehicle had its own personality, rhythm, and story. He approached a custom build the same way a musician approaches a song, carefully shaping every detail until it felt right. That unique combination of mechanic, fabricator, musician, and storyteller made him stand out from almost everyone else in automotive television. And when the right opportunity came along, he was ready. In 1999, Trucks debuted at a time when automotive television was still finding its identity. Most viewers didn't want flashy commercials or endless racing highlights. They wanted someone who would pull back the curtain and show them how real work was done. Stacey became exactly that person. He explained difficult repairs in simple language, showed every important step, and never talked down to his audience. Watching him didn't make people feel like they needed years of experience. It made them believe they could walk into their own garage and give it a try. But why did his style connect so deeply when so many other hosts came and went? The answer was respect. Stacey never treated viewers like spectators waiting to be entertained. He treated them like future builders. Instead of showing only the finished product, he explained why each decision mattered. He slowed down when something needed extra attention and made complicated projects feel achievable. Backyard mechanics, high school shop students, fathers working alongside their kids, and weekend hobbyists all saw someone who encouraged them instead of intimidating them. That approach turned Trucks into much more than a television show. It became a source of confidence for thousands of people across America. The unforgettable project vehicles only strengthened that connection. Builds like Copperhead, the famous 1967 Chevy C10, and Crazy Horse, the custom 1966 Ford Bronco, became stars in their own right. Fans didn't just admire the finished trucks. They followed every stage of the process, learning new skills along the way. Each project felt like a journey rather than a simple makeover. Those vehicles proved that a great build isn't just about horsepower or shiny paint. It's about the story behind it. But while the audience loved that formula, the television industry was quietly moving in a different direction. As the years passed, automotive television became louder and more dramatic. Networks wanted faster builds, bigger personalities, tighter deadlines, and more conflict. Arguments became entertainment. Manufactured drama often mattered more than teaching viewers something useful. Stacey never believed that was the right path. To him, every real project already had enough tension. Rust, broken parts, limited budgets, unexpected setbacks, and solving one problem after another created all the drama anyone needed. He didn't see a reason to invent fake conflicts when the work itself told a compelling story. Then came the moment that left fans asking the same question for years. At the height of Trucks, Stacey was suddenly gone. There was no emotional farewell episode and no dramatic explanation. One week, he was the face of the show, and the next week, everything had changed. Naturally, rumors spread. Some wondered if he had been fired. Others believed he had burned out or simply lost interest. The reality appears to have been much simpler. Stacey felt the show was moving away from the values that made it successful in the first place. More sponsor influence, more polished production, and less time spent teaching viewers how to actually build things made him question whether it was still the same show he helped create. Instead of staying for the paycheck or the fame, Stacey made a decision that very few television personalities would make. He walked away while the show was still popular. Even more surprising, he refused to turn his departure into a public spectacle. There were no angry interviews, no tell-all stories, and no attempts to create controversy. He simply stepped away and focused on what mattered most to him. That quiet decision revealed something important about his character. Fame was never the goal. Building and teaching always came first. But if he left trucks, where did he go? The answer arrived in 2007 with Stacey David's GearZ. Many people called it a comeback, but was really a fresh beginning. This time Stacey wasn't just the host. He also had creative control through his own company, Rattletrap Productions. That meant he could decide how each episode was made, what projects deserve attention, and how much time should be spent explaining the work. GearZ gave him the freedom to return to the style that fans loved in the first place. Instead of chasing ratings with manufactured drama, he focused on education, craftsmanship, and creativity. Even after GearZ found its audience, bigger opportunities continued to appear. Larger networks could have offered more money, more exposure, and a wider audience. For many people, that would have been impossible to refuse. Stacey saw it differently. He had already learned that bigger contracts often came with bigger compromises. More executives usually meant less creative freedom. More exposure often meant more pressure to simplify, exaggerate, or turn every episode into entertainment first and education second. He wasn't interested in repeating the same mistake. Staying independent gave him something far more valuable than a larger paycheck. It gave him complete control over his work. That decision caused many casual viewers to believe he had disappeared. In reality, he never stopped building, filming, or teaching. He simply moved away from a loudest stage. While the automotive media world embraced viral videos, outrageous thumbnails, celebrity appearances, and constant online drama, Stacey remained focused on craftsmanship. His quieter approach didn't always dominate headlines, but it earned something far more important: trust. The people who continued watching knew they were getting honest advice instead of manufactured excitement. Perhaps Stacey's greatest contribution wasn't a single truck or television episode. It was the confidence he gave other people. He treated every garage like a classroom. Every project became an opportunity to teach welding, fabrication, painting, wiring, budgeting, or problem solving. More importantly, he taught viewers that mistakes weren't failures. They were simply part of learning. That message inspired countless people to pick up tools for the first time and tackle projects they once believed were impossible. His long list of memorable builds reflects that philosophy. Vehicles like Copperhead, Crazy Horse, Sergeant Rock, Heavy Metal, the V8 Interceptor, Banshee, and Rat Roaster weren't memorable just because they looked impressive. Each one told a story and demonstrated a different skill. Some celebrated automotive history. Others honored veterans or embraced movie culture. Every project had a purpose beyond entertainment, making each episode feel like both a lesson and an adventure. Today, Stacey David hasn't vanished at all. GearZ continues to exist, his company remains active, and his work still reaches dedicated fans who appreciate authentic craftsmanship. The spotlight may not shine as brightly as it did during the peak of trucks, but that seems to have been his choice all along. He traded widespread fame for creative freedom, and in doing so, protected the values that made people respect him in the first place. So maybe the real question isn't why Stacey David disappeared from television. Maybe it's why so few people are willing to make the same choice. He didn't leave because he failed. He left because he refused to let television change who he was. In an industry that often rewards noise over substance, Stacey chose integrity over attention. His legacy isn't measured by ratings or headlines. It's measured by the countless people who walked into their garages, picked up a wrench, and believed they could build something with their own hands because he showed them they could.